Good evening, all.
Sorry. Catching up.
No. Call this meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. Sorry for the delay. Go around the room as Alicia sits down, so I'll have you start.
Alicia Greco, Chair, Select Board.
Celine Muldowney.
David Dempsey.
Mike Volpone.
Dave Grohl.
Lucian Densmore.
Cindy Courier, Council on Aging.
Thank you all very much. Mark Sand, unfortunately, is not able to attend tonight. He let me know this afternoon, so I apologize. Second thing is, I was notified by the town, last month's meeting technically cannot be counted because even though the calendar showed November 1st and the information on it showed November 1st, the agenda that I had posted showed November 4th, and there was a conflict, so technically that meeting never existed. So we're going to briefly go back through the November 4th agenda before we get started back through, so, which is why that's listed on the old business section. If you are able to, that would be wonderful. I'm not going to reach. I'm going to kill yourself. We do not, Mark was not able to provide a copy of the previous meeting's minutes, but considering the meeting didn't actually happen, don't need it right now anyway. So, correspondence, I have received an email from the Triton Music Parents Organization.
I'm sorry, is this the old meeting or the new meeting?
This is technically still, this is part of the new meeting. When I get into old business, I'll hit that part of it. Does anybody know off the top of their head again what our internet is?
Start the meeting?
Yes, I did. 6:04.
Sorry.
No. Does it have a thing that says the Wi-Fi?
Oh, the Wi-Fi?
Mine usually just goes right to it, and for some reason it's not. I don't know why.
See what I get.
I can't send it to you.
Actually, well, let me do this instead of doing that. All right. Correspondence came this morning from the Triton Music Parents Organization. They are looking for the use of Mantor Field. The actual parking lot itself, just on Saturday, March 26, 2021. They need it just for buses and cars for overflow. And they wanted to know if they could do it and if there was a fee attached to it. Technically that would have to come into new business, but they're also under a time crunch, so they're hoping we can either make an exception or just to try to let them know. I mean, we're not charging for the parking lot. It is a Triton organization.
Before you guys,
Mm-hmm.
is it before the spring season starts?
Yes.
Yeah.
Spring doesn't start for another week or two. They're having the color guard. They're having their winter guard and percussion show, and there's supposed to be 38 different schools showing up. So they've asked if we could, if we allow them to use the parking lot.
I think we've done that in the past.
We probably have, but we didn't get it on the agenda in time. That's the only hitch to this. So when we get down to new business, we can discuss it and see if we're able to do it. So other than that, that's the only correspondence I heard. Bills and claims.
We've got our last Gmello bill of the season, and we got the bill for the calendar software.
Okay. 2,200, 20.
Yeah, it was a little over
2,900, something like
Yeah.
that. Okay. The reports that were sent out, the monthly ones that come in from the town, that were sent out to everybody so you could see what we had. Let me see if I can. They were letting us know our expenditures for the year through 11/4 was an ending balance of, we have available just under $48,000, so we really haven't spent anything. But there's $19,100 that's gonna come out of that for the basketball court contract, so when you take that into consideration, I mean, take the 16 out, we're about $31,000. Okay. Old business, so I'm gonna go back to the November 4th agenda, and we're gonna hit on the things there. We called the meeting to order, listed the members, read the meetings. Correspondence was the bills that we had. I don't think we had anything else. I didn't mean to go over that. We discussed the basketball court fence update. I had one company that would relay the money back, let us know it was in the ballpark of the less than $9,000 that we needed, but they couldn't do it till the spring, so, and at this point in the game, I don't think we're gonna get anybody to do it this time of the year, so we will try to see if we can get the last of that snow fenced-in area done in the springtime and get it for under the $9,000 we have left. David, you reported on the field house security.
It was up and working last time they talked to me.
Okay.
He set it up, and it's on a timer, so, I don't think I've asked him to turn it off, but I can check on that.
If you would, just let us know for
Yep.
what's going on there.
Yep.
I don't know, has anybody gone by and checked, because it was what, during the week, we set it for 3 to 6 or 7, I think.
I was just there,
You were just
because
in?
we had a class there this morning.
Yep,
So I just went to make sure everything was locked up.
okay.
So
Was
the
it-
bathroom door was, I believe that was locked.
Okay.
I had the main door open, so I locked everything up.
Okay,
But
thank
I
you very much.
just wanted to
Then.
make sure.
I just wasn't sure if they'd shut that down, because I know the gates are supposed to be closed once the season was over. The gates are supposed to be shut down and not open again, but normally they're open 8 AM to 8 PM.
The gates themselves to the
The
parking lot?
gates, the ones that go out back type of thing, yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Okay. Take a look. The canoe and kayak, I remember Mark getting into a little bit of detail, but I wasn't sure if he got into too much off the top of my head. And in the fee schedule, we started discussing proposed changes of going from the current $6 for nonprofit or in league to $15 for retail leagues. And part of that discussion was gonna be done, continued on tonight, so. You okay? Sorry, when we get down numbers, I just have to make sure I have quorum before I go too far. The field house and basketball court policies, we did not, we said we'd address during this meeting tonight and see if we have more information. A proposal to change the name of the field area from Manta Field to something as possibly Central Street Fields. There was a lot of discussion about bringing back some options to the board for their option. That was going to be discussed tonight. And Newbury Boy Scout Pat Sasso brought his Eagle project for the adding the flag and the lights and stuff. As of 2 weeks ago, he had told me he hadn't got a chance to get in touch with James Surratt yet to say what the specifics and stuff on that was. So he would get back to me probably for our next meeting. So that was what we discussed at last month's. There wasn't any real decision other than to vote on approve the money for the bills. Does anybody have any questions, or did I miss anything on what was said?
Was the last meeting when we talked about that little bridge, remember that little?
Yeah, that was.
Yes, that was part of the
That's
canoe
part of
thing
the
that we
canoe
talked
thing,
about.
okay.
Because they were gonna build that, they were gonna take that up, put the metal piece in,
Right,
then
right,
have it so they could leave right from there. Yep,
I think at the very end of it too, we had a conversation regarding putting the sign for the basketball courts.
Yes,
The
yes.
signage for, and how we said we discussed.
Yeah, but weren't you gonna look into that, and if we were gonna do it, we were gonna talk about that during this call, I think.
Yeah, this was, because we
Yeah.
brought it up at the end and we said, let's just take it and we'll move it to the.
Yeah, okay. So that is, is there any discussion on anything else? If not, can I have the discussion on the notes for November 4th approved, or make a motion for it?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll close off November 4th. Just wipe
Did you
that.
take any vote,
No.
move any action?
The only thing we actioned on was and really technically, the only thing we didn't have to was the bills, which we paid anyway. You just went over them.
Okay.
We voted on opening and closing the meeting. It was kind of a, more of a discussion situation that day. So in the long term, actually, it was a better situation. So going back to the old business, the review of the November 4th meeting we just did, the Fieldhouse security update, David's going to give us information on that. Mark is not here for the canoe and kayak update, which we're keeping on the agenda, so we can go along. But the fee schedule proposed changes. We have visitors. Is this part of the discussion for you folks?
Yes.
All four of you? Okay.
So wait, so this is back to,
We're back to the December 13th meeting. And I would like
can you
to,
guys just run down your names real quick?
we have to document this stuff, so.
I'm Mike Bangor with Rush.
Like, it's nice finally to meet you.
Likewise.
Can we see the name?
I got the face.
Jason?
Yeah,
Yeah, yours
Can I
is,
spell
we
your
know,
last name?
DeRocher, D as in David, E S as in Sam, ROCHERS as in Sam.
it's that R that got your email.
Yeah, I was trying to get in touch with you about the, you got everything set with the field house with the nets down there?
I chained them up,
Oh,
the little hockey nets.
okay,
I
DPW said that they put them into the shed for you.
Oh,
You
they-
left them out there, yeah,
Okay, cause I chained them up, cause I drove by
okay,
and I saw two of them around the basketball court.
okay.
Yeah,
So I grabbed them, chained them all together so they wouldn't move. I don't know who put them
no,
on.
I know you don't know.
But I
Yeah,
chained
we
them
know it's a
up, but I
problem.
kept them there because it was close.
Yeah. So if you want, I can talk to Jason and set up a time to meet.
Yeah, cause I can meet them and
Okay.
just carry them down.
What's that?
That's Jason, you're talking James.
James, I say James?
Jason.
Mike
James.
Farrell with Georgetown Training Youth Lacrosse.
FA?
FARRELL.
John Vogel. I'm with
Same club.
been here before.
Yeah, familiar.
And he had done that.
Is it GTYL?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. We had told the groups that was here at the time, Stefano was here instead of Mike, and I don't remember who was representing you guys at the time, but we had said we would hold fees for 2 years. And that kept us through April of this year. What we decided, because of the time frame, we're actually not gonna start it until the fall season of 2022.
Okay.
So we're actually extending our time a little bit more just to make sure.
Yeah. So
I-
status quo until the fall.
Yes, so the spring season, nothing's getting touched.
Got it.
We had planned it for the spring to start, but we didn't get it done in time, and it's not your fault, it's ours, so we're gonna handle it.
So the plan's still up for debate, or is that?
Oh, it's gonna be, but it'll be for debate for the fall.
Okay.
Because we need to get, because to make the change, we then have to get it approved, discuss, make sure we're all set, then we have to bring it to the board, a selectman, or a select board, make sure they approve it, and then we have to update documents and stuff for that.
Okay.
So we wanna make sure, so, we really hadn't got too far in regards to dollars and stuff. I'll be honest with you, it was geared more towards the for-profit groups than it was the non-profit. We know that the local towns, is difficult, and we're trying to do it, but there's still gotta be something, because we feel, or I should say, I feel, you guys can speak for yourselves, the price is very, very advantageous for you guys. We made sure when we did the numbers 3 years ago, before we put this into play, I took all the numbers which you guys had for all the leagues for both different groups and said, here's what you're paying now. To convert it from a per person to a per hour, it was within very small amounts. So it was a small increase, which was the first in 12 years.
Yep.
So we weren't looking to go anything major, but it was gonna be an increase that we were looking to do. Correct me if I'm wrong, the numbers that were being thrown out were 10 and 25? Or was I missing something on that? That'd be $10 per hour on the non-profit youth Triton group type of thing, and then the for-profit groups, in this case, which would be Rush, would go from 15 to 25.
Gotcha. That's 6 to 10 and 15 to 25? Is that
Yes.
right?
So that's what the proposal is. We have not really gone into too much, but as you are our partners in this, and have been for many years, we wanted your input, we wanted your discussions. And that's why we extend the invite, so, Jason, you've been here the longest, I'll let you start, unless someone else wants to jump in first. If you, I should say, do any of you guys have any questions regarding to that? Is that a problem, is there an issue? I mean, we certainly could have gone more, we didn't think it was, we didn't want it to make it an issue. We needed to do something. We unfortunately go by a lot of times, I know your schedules are different, but it's really kind of, for me it's depressing, you guys can certainly have your say. When I go by and I see a field that's booked all day and there's not a soul on it all day. And it's like, what's going on? During the week, usually it's the weekends that are killing us. Because there'll be a Saturday or a Sunday when there absolutely is no one there for half a day. And it's because your games are scheduled, we understand that, but it really kind of hurts. And I know you guys are only the springtime, so.
Yeah, and we don't honestly do the schedule. We tell them what's available, and the league does the schedule.
Yeah.
So.
But then we go by and there is not a soul on the field for a day, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like, I understand you're paying for it,
Right, it's painful.
but the idea was we wanted to hopefully work it out so we had that, so it's kind of a,
Yeah, I wonder if there'd be any like post, like once we get our season scheduled, if there was like an online platform where we could enter in our season, you guys could then, you know, see the availability and then utilize that space, and then you wouldn't have a conflict with, you know, just like, I'm just speaking for lacrosse, but lacrosse's schedule, like field 1 and 2, and you'd be able to utilize that extra time with some digital platform that would maybe give people the ability to then.
which is what we just invested in.
Yeah, fantastic,
So
yeah.
Yes.
is that rolling for the spring, or is that?
Probably not the spring.
We're trying, but
Maybe we'll
it's
just take
starting
a look.
fresh, and it will give organizations the ability to enter their information, the dates they want and all that.
Yeah.
And payment is correctly
Yep.
as well,
Yep.
everything can be done directly right through that, so it'll make things a lot easier.
Beautiful.
So maybe there's a way to beta that with us for spring 2023, and you know, see the results. Like we can partner with you guys 100% on that, like through input in.
Don't get personally, but I'll be starting with them in the fall before I can wait till the spring.
Nice, that's fantastic.
I'm not
No,
going that
yeah.
far. But for you guys, it certainly will
I'd
make
rather not
sense.
be an alpha, anyways. I'd rather be a beta. So that's a little few less.
I knew where you were
rules.
going, I'm going,
Yeah.
okay, he's talking 23, I said, yeah, we gotta get this done next year,
Yeah,
we're
no.
paying on this on a monthly basis.
No, that's fantastic. Yeah. So I
Anyway.
mean, obviously you guys, you know, hit it on the nose, and you know, a solution like that, we'd love to partner in that because
Yeah.
we want to see the fields used. I guess the only concern is, you know, overuse on fields, and I think you guys are more experts on that than we probably are, making sure the fields get rest. You know, but besides that, like, we're all about partnering with you on.
It
field
certainly works out, and it hasn't been that, I mean, the fields have had good conditions this past season, I mean, currently we spent more on mowing the lawn and different things because of all the rain, which was great, but, you know, mowing the lawn, it seemed like every other day out there,
Yeah.
so.
We spent a lot on line paint because of that.
Yeah.
Mike, anything, or?
No, I'm fine with
Okay.
it. Can we just go back to the empty comment?
Yeah,
What's the story with the field house? Because that's always empty 100% of the time.
go ahead.
We had started working on a schedule for people being able to reserve it or use it different portions, and then COVID hit, and
Okay.
everything just, and we had to shut it down.
Yeah.
The cleaning alone, well,
Sure.
we couldn't use it. And then this was the first season that it was open, and so we are readdressing that, and that's basically where it's
It
at.
literally,
It's
it
not that we
literally
don't
opened
intend to have people use it,
Okay.
it's
at
just
the
that.
end of the season in 19, which means that the first season it would have been used would have been early 20.
Okay.
We had COVID go through,
Yeah.
and then after, we found out the CDC required us, if it was gonna be done, we would have to clean it every, so many times a day,
Sure.
and it's $75 a pop. It would have taken our entire budget just to clean it, so it was either, we don't have it, and we can't do anything else, because then we wouldn't be able to pay for field maintenance and all that, and the town holds us accountable, so we had to make the decision to do that.
Okay.
The field house is now, was open, part of it, then we had problems with security because the lock system, which is what David was talking about, that's now being fixed, so now we'll have that thing available, so come spring, you'll have it open.
Will there be flex space for storage or anything like that? Like if we wanted to keep like painting gear or something like that, or other kind of
Maybe
gear?
more about that than I do.
Is there
I talked to
seasonal shared
DPW
space?
about it, and as far as storing stuff underneath the garage,
Yeah,
I don't know about locking and unlocking, but he had no problem putting your nets underneath there. So I don't know what kind of space there is. The last time I was in there, before they finished it, so. I know they keep some equipment, like the DPW keeps some equipment under there, but
Yeah.
it's a big space. I mean, it's that total
How,
footprint.
how big, I mean,
we're just talking about space to put the nets over the winter, basically.
yeah, and then you said the,
Yeah.
the line kit?
Yeah, the striker, you know,
Yeah,
it's a
so
case-
the
case
question,
of
how often do you need access to that?
weekly.
Yeah,
Alright,
once
so
a
we're
week.
gonna, you
Yeah,
can,
I'll
just
talk,
find out.
I'll contact him.
We
and
can
ask
kind of
him.
coordinate
Yeah.
times and stuff to see what can be done, but if it can be done, yeah, we'll certainly work with everybody.
Okay, fantastic.
And what other usage would you think that you anticipate for the field house besides storage?
Well, I was thinking during Sundays when we traditionally have games, if we could use the kitchen area, you know, to, more as a fundraising effort, because that's our biggest thing is,
We're all for it.
Yeah.
We're 100% behind it.
That's-
That's the one thing we've
best
said.
news I've heard all week, Brandon.
Anybody wants to use that for that purpose alone, that was one of the big things. I mean, we reached out to the Council on Aging as well as say if someone wants to do it, but it was a question whether anybody wanted to, and no one really stepped up to say, yeah, we want to do it.
Oh, we would,
If we could get back to selling Gatorades and candy bars,
yeah,
that'd be
coffee on Sunday
yeah,
mornings,
phenomenal.
that'd be
I
huge,
don't know
huge
what's
help
in
for
the-
us.
What's in the kitchen besides the sink?
It's just a second, it needs a refrigerator.
It needs, yeah.
Yeah.
That was part of our budget, and then everything hit, because we were gonna put a stove in it, because it's all plumbed.
Yeah,
It's all done, so it's just a matter of getting the appliances put in. And that was one of the things we had
And it
budgeted
has those
for.
nice windows, so you can,
yeah,
Yeah, it's
no,
awesome.
it's an awesome setup, we just wanna see it used.
Yep, oh, that makes two of us, because we're all sitting here saying the same thing.
Yeah,
yeah,
great.
there's tons of storage space, so if you add product.
The only thing that has to be worked out is that, you know, you've got two different
Yeah.
types of sports happening at the same time,
Sure,
games at the same time, so to figure out, you know.
Sure.
If you, I mean, if it's in the springtime and we're here, you guys are all there at the same time, you can rotate. And again, this is something you can bring to us and we all talk about. You can do it among yourselves and saying, here's what the schedule's gonna be and how you wanna do it. We're open.
okay.
We want the facility used, seriously, we want people to be growing, because one of the things we also have to do is we have to create a manual for the field house as well now as for the basketball court, so those are two things we're working on. And we're all for it. If you guys are interested, we'd love to have you guys use it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that would be
He's
awesome.
actually kind of usually the three organizations working together, and maybe parents volunteer. The numbers are from Peabody and.
Just rotate on a
Yeah.
schedule type of thing, so you're not doing it every weekend.
They built their townhouse, and what we did in Peabody with the youth sports is like, we hired the youth kids to go in there and work. And there was an oven in there, they were selling hot dogs, hamburgers, was
Yeah.
going on. It just created an atmosphere where the kids were going there, working, you know, getting paid,
Yeah, well,
maybe a
that's
certain
smart.
amount or.
That's a win-win.
Yeah, or a fee knocked off of, for registering,
Yeah,
or
there's
stuff like that, so we
community
just.
service hours and stuff they get,
Yeah.
so.
Community service, all the money that we raised in for, it, we need to back into maintaining the field, or sponsoring a team or a child that needed some financial need to play in a program, so that's.
We just cover a 40% increase in cost.
Yeah, it was a huge, huge.
Just for that comment, wait till I'm gonna hit you next.
I'm still not profit.
You're still not profit, but, one of the things that part of the basketball court and also the field house, there will be a fee to be using it. It will not be crazy by any means, but it'll be something that needs to be
Sure.
done.
Or so just to
Yeah,
make
yes,
sure we
maintain.
cover cleaning costs.
Yeah.
Because every time you guys use that, we have to have someone come in, so $75 every time someone uses that facility, we have to have it cleaned because of what's going on.
Well, I think the other thing is if you can collaborate and use it as a collective group, every time it's open, it's just, you know, it eliminates coming in and lugging everything in and then breaking it down when you leave and taking everything with you so that somebody else can come in and bring their own stuff in. So the collaboration allows everybody to benefit from it at the same time. And, you know, if soccer's gonna bring a lot more people in than lacrosse, it benefits everybody once it goes into the same concession stand pool and then gets, however you guys all agree to divvy it up at the end or whenever you need the resources, you know, you can go look to how to use it. But by working together, it allows it to be able to open it up, refill your supplies, sell it, close it at the end of the night, keep it running inventory, and whoever you put in charge of that, you know, would be capable of taking care of that. So like I said, it's not, I've worked concession stands where Little League leaves and Pup Warner comes in and Little League's lugging their stuff out, and now Pup Warner's trying to come in and it's just, it's a disaster. So collaboratively would be the best way to really handle that situation.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
And this may be a silly question, I know there's no stove in it, but do we need a permit to use a grill on the premises or anything like that? Is there a permit for that? For example, if we came in and said.
I think there was a question about that at one point.
Probably
I know there's a
serve
grill,
safe.
there is a grill underneath, I know that because I put it there. It's probably the size of this table, and, it's a charcoal grill.
But the question is, would they need a permit or
As far
something?
as permitting goes, you'd have to ask, the building inspector, that I don't know.
It's one of both.
I know for us to use our kitchen at the Council on Aging, we had to get the health department to.
Yeah.
Yeah, the health department will have to come out with the
Well,
board.
and I think, and this is just for us to make a decision later and have a conversation. That's the problem when you put a refrigerator in and a stove in and you do all those things. There's also liability, there's other things that can happen. Sometimes the best concession stands are the open ones where there's just coolers and everybody fills ice and you use it for that day, you break it down. And there's not, you're not worried about somebody getting hurt on the stove. If you get pizzas, you get them in the hot bags, they stay warm, you get somebody to deliver them. So there's less of a risk and there's less of a liability than having a full appliance kitchen in there too, so.
And
I
that,
think,
full appliance kitchen, I know there's nothing in the budget for that right
Right,
now, so
exactly.
that's a
Well,
ways
actually,
off.
we did budget for the appliances. The question's gonna be the insurance if anything else gets added to it. But no, we had put money aside. We figured it was gonna cost us about $2,000 to $3,000 to put a fridge, a freezer,
Yeah, but
and a
you
I think it
stove.
was a fridge and a microwave.
What was
I
that?
don't even, we never talked about any kind of
Stove?
stove, no.
And, I put that grill underneath there, but, I mean, I don't even know
I
if it's
would-
rusted, that was years ago.
Plan on for the spring, the cooler,
That would be
you
best.
you can buy a microwave at Target.
Honestly, having power and the sink available is really all that's
That's
needed.
all,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you can go a long way with that.
And I would do the cooler route for now.
Yeah, that's fine,
Yeah.
totally fine.
So Mike,
Yes.
coming back to me on the full circle.
Yeah, sure.
For us, and I'm sure for lacrosse, any increase is just passed down to the parents all the way through. So as long as we know before registration opens.
Which for the fall would be, need to be, that's why we moved it.
That will be June for us,
Okay.
but,
So we'll have a decision made probably in the next couple of months.
yeah,
But we didn't want to vote on anything until we got your buy-in. We wanted to
Yeah.
talk to you to see, I mean, if I come back and say, yeah, we want to do 25 and 50, I'd be picking you guys up the floor or jumping this table, one or the other, so. I figured, because again,
Empty field.
we want to work
Yeah.
together,
yeah,
and that's what it needs to be done, so we didn't want to go crazy, and I thought that was relatively minimal after the long period of time, and then we said we would touch it into 2 years. So, I'm hoping that's,
Yeah, same, as long as we know in advance for registration. So.
okay.
I know for our seasons during COVID, we're at the mercy of the league setting up our game schedule. So they tried to make it so that there was a half-hour break in between games, depending upon the fields. So if we had 2 games on field 1, they would have game 1, then a half-hour break. That allows 15 minutes for a team to come off and 15 minutes for
Yeah.
a team to come on. So there is that break. I know for this past season, every weekend was used for Mantor, except for one where we called off because of the rain that we had during the weekday.
But I mean, Jason, there were days that, I mean, I literally would go down there, and there wasn't a soul in the field for like 3-4 hours. And I'm not, I don't remember if it was a Saturday or Sunday,
Yep.
whose schedule, whatever, but I mean, that was the one thing. It was kind of
Yeah.
like, people were like, can we use the field? And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, if no one's there. It's
Yeah.
just, I don't want to get someone started something all of a sudden, you guys, because you
Yeah.
may have a game and then not have a game for like 4 hours, 3 hours and stuff, but that's, and I'm hoping, as John had mentioned, I'm hoping that the schedule getting online will kind of hopefully work that out. That's why we made the investment in the program, so hopefully that'll
Yeah.
help us all out
Yeah.
going forward.
So in regards to like the schedule all the way through, we know application comes in first or provides to you guys, and then we get kind of what our league schedule is, and by then, all of our parent volunteers and our coaches, we know what their work schedule is and when they're gonna run practices. So we can go through and look at it and say, okay,
When
here's
do you-
freed up space.
So, realistically for a spring, you guys are already in full swing of it, I'm guessing, right now.
Lacrosse is.
Yeah.
Lacrosse is, we're gonna open up registration probably in like a week or two.
Right before
I
the
don't-
holiday?
What's that?
Right before or right after?
Just before.
Okay.
Just before, I'm sensitive, with with the basketball. I'm sensitive with basketball, not to compete with registration.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sensitive even to lacrosse, it's not good to have two competing sports open up registrations, even though our kids kinda are always the same. I always kinda alternate. If I didn't see anything, I'll put our registration out. If I see lacrosse, I'll give it like a week or two, and then put ours out, just to kinda work, cause at the end of the day, we're just working for the kids to get them active and on the fields.
We are all 100% in agreement on that.
Yeah,
That's all
a
we're
lot of our
here
kids
for.
play soccer too, so
Yeah,
they play
exactly.
soccer first, they practice, I mean, parents want their kids to be fit, so
Yeah.
they'll crank out an hour of
Yeah,
soccer.
with the basketball courts up and going too, we'll have that court going next spring,
Yeah.
so
The
spring,
biggest-
summer.
My only biggest thing, like, for springtime that I would like to kinda, like, look at a little bit closer, especially with lacrosse and rush, is just parking. Just, understanding how many cars can be parked in that area.
Which area?
What's that?
Which area? You're talking about the front area or the one beyond, between the two fences?
Both.
Or so all together?
Both, because what happens is, a couple of times, especially when there was like makeup games with Rush,
Yeah.
we had cars parked along the road.
Mhm.
And I just wanna make sure that at least you guys know what the threshold is for number of cars.
Now, was that, could you guys park out in the back fields? Were the gates open so people could drive out?
Only up to the basketball court, but not beyond.
Not
So
the back,
we-
not the back one, that's,
Not
So
the
we
back.
can
Is that
make
because-
sure that that could be open.
Yep.
And that would give you a lot more parking going along the field and then.
as long as
down to
everybody
the-
stays up the pipes and stuff, and that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing,
Yeah.
'cause
We had a similar issue on.
people just pull up and they'll just sit there and it's like you're sitting on
Yeah.
stuff and it's like you
Quick
shouldn't be
question for
parking.
you,
There's a lot of weight.
as far as the parking goes, would it be, is it prudent to think that if we put down spray painted lines, would that help as far as people parking, or do people sort of naturally park their cars? Will you optimize that space, I guess is the
I
question.
don't think, I
The
think
lines
the
would
lines.
last.
Yeah, lines on a gravel and dirt area, just, you're gonna be doing it all the time.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, would
you
that help or would that?
Is there parking way down the bottom,
At the very back of the field?
at the very back?
I think it's the dirt right there is as far as it goes.
Right.
No, you could
Well-
drive all the way down to
Yeah.
where the,
Where the old airstrip was.
yeah, where the old airstrip, where the lights are.
Yeah, where the lights are, can you park, is that?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
okay?
I don't think go down there, it's all grass in there.
No, it's pavement.
It's gravel.
Isn't it
pavement.
gravel?
Okay.
Okay.
Just gravel and.
It may be lining up, trying to get out, saying who's got the car in front of me, type of thing, that's the only thing I'm worried about.
Probably
Yeah.
wide enough to park on one side, so that
Yes.
the cars can go up.
As you go down across, then you'd want it open down as you go down the hill, but then there's that lot down there that you might be able to.
Yeah, put a bunch of cars
To
down.
put, only on these big days when you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there are a
I
couple
I mean, we
days-
certainly wanna use it on a regular basis, but if
Yeah.
it's something that we can do it, because you park in the street and you're either asking for a ticket or a tow,
Yeah.
and that's the last thing anybody wants.
Yeah.
So would signage be helpful if we could put some signage, park here, or places where they could be parked?
Or additional parking.
Or additional
Yeah,
parking with
additional parking,
signage
maybe.
showing that there could be some additional parking in the
Additional
back?
parking, or even the ability to open up that back gate
Yeah.
to push
It
them.
should be open, like we had made a plan at one
It
point.
might not have been open because of construction of the court.
For the
Oh,
courts.
Yeah, that was a big condition.
I had opened up the first gate by the field house,
Yep.
Yep,
but not the second, because the first
that's
gate.
usually, the front one's supposed to be open, they didn't lock the 8. If we need the back one, I mean, any one of us is within 5 minutes of the building,
Yeah.
and we could probably try and see who's got it.
The only thing we ask is that you're really mindful with not only your parents, but the parents of the other teams about that septic system. Like, we put those,
Pylons.
the pylons up only to a certain point. We wanna make sure if we start letting cars go around the back, that they're not gonna come up,
Pull around
pull
from it.
around.
Yeah, and that's what I remember. I remember that happened, that parking on the hill happened a couple of years ago, because we had that one of those maxed out days and people were doing that willy-nilly, just parking,
Yeah,
like wherever
especially
they
people
could.
who aren't from the area, they
Yeah.
don't
They don't know
understand what it is.
Exactly, yeah, so to avoid that, to have some signage to push them down the bottom.
Well, if the leach field's exposed, I mean, there should be stones or something around there blocking.
No,
it.
it's grass.
It's grass.
It's grass.
It's grass.
Yeah.
But there's nothing blocking somebody from.
Just the
Not on the
pylons
backside,
on
it's
one
on-
side.
It's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
been
exposed on
blocked
the
off.
backside.
Yeah, it's been blocked off since we did the field,
Yeah.
right, and all
The
that.
chain
Yeah.
links are up along that whole side, you said the backside it has.
Backside, so
Okay.
when we opened that gate up,
Yeah,
that
Go
was
on
sort
around
of.
and come back
Or
up.
maybe you could look at the backside to see if we need to put those back in, because it may just make things easier in the long run if we wanted to do it. Just for ourselves, I'd rather do these pilots.
One more pilot.
Get the pilots and change up just to make sure, we can say, okay, this backside's done and there's no questions, so no one has to worry about it.
That might be a
All on the whole
win-win,
way?
yeah.
I'm thinking about it. If there's a way to park down there, I wanna avoid it, because all it takes is one person to go beyond it, land on that pipe, and God, there goes our budget.
Okay.
Any other questions you guys have right now? One, thank you. One, I appreciate you all coming. This is what we needed. We wanted to hear from you. As I said, we're all in this together. We're all here to try. We're volunteers. We don't get paid for this stuff. We do this because we care, and you guys do the same thing, so we appreciate it. Thank you.
We had a little bit, and this isn't just feedback from our lines guy last year, because it was so wet and the grass was growing so much. The fields guy was like, because he was painting the fields, he's like, John, when they mow, I can't even see my paint anymore, because they're in between the mows. So we were questioning, like, oh, do we call you guys to get an extra mow in to keep it lower or something like that? Is there some kind of?
Well, if you look at the last 2 years, the year before, you'd be lucky if you had a mower.
I know, exactly.
So,
yeah,
I mean,
so,
I'll be honest with you, I make
know.
the joke because I mowed more grass this past year than I did as a kid.
It's a ridiculous comment, but it was just
Yeah,
feedback
I
from
mean,
our
if you start
lines
seeing
guy,
it,
yeah.
we run into issues, let us know.
Okay.
Just drop us an
So-
email in.
Would it be helpful to know when the DPW mows?
That would be helpful,
That'd
yeah.
definitely helpful.
Even,
Yeah.
like right now during the winter time, I know DPW does a lot, but if we can say, if you can mow on Thursday or Friday, because if you mow on Thursday, you can paint on Friday, or if they mow on Friday, that would be helpful, because all of our games are on Saturdays and Sundays.
You just wanna have time to paint, make sure you're not rushing to get it done.
Yeah, you sound like 1%ers, but it's hard to get these guys to go out and paint, and then you fight the weather as well, and so
Yeah,
it's
we'll get you information, we'll drop an email once we figure out what
We
it is.
can ask, but I don't know what their schedule is, so.
Yeah, I
It's-
just don't know if it's during the winter time that they might be able to readjust their schedule before they start mowing.
Yeah, I think
But
with
it's all on
summertime,
them.
it's all, I think it's about paving too, so.
Yeah.
It's funny to sit there listening to talk about mowing. I can remember when I was coaching, I used to call the mowers up if we were going against a team that had a lot of speed and say, don't mow this
Don't mow.
week.
Oh, yeah.
Don't mow this week, let that stuff grow, slow down, so it's like, that's
Home
okay. But
field
that's my
advantage.
coaching, that's,
We end up trouble
thinking about all the elements,
No need deep breaths.
I can tell you a story about Boxford from last year. I won't go there.
Anybody got anything else? I just wanna make sure, this was the big thing we wanted to make sure you guys were all set with. And again, thank you, I certainly appreciate you guys coming. I hope you have a good holiday season, and I hope things work out, and good luck in the spring. Are you gonna say
Thanks so much
something?
for including.
Alright, so, I'm gonna ask about Thursday or Friday cut, if that's possible. Then I'm gonna, discuss coordination for nets going into the basement, and then find out for space
For the line,
for
yeah,
lines,
and their
and
goals.
what it takes to make that happen with everybody.
Okay.
And thank you for taking them off the basketball court, I appreciate
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't,
Good move,
Yeah.
thanks.
so that's why.
That was,
I
that was
didn't-
brought up last month, but I left that off the calendar, because I saw them, and I was just like, we just did this, all this work, and there's nets on the basketball court, and I'm like, we can't have this.
I've had to stop a few times and I feel bad for all these little kids.
What are they doing? Are they
And
playing
they've
like
got,
street hockey
roll-
with it?
Yeah. And-
Yeah.
Rollerblade and all that stuff, and that'll wreck up the
Rollerblade
court
and-
pretty quick, and we don't need it.
Yeah, just put marks all over the
Yeah,
place.
no.
But we also, just so you guys know, and we may have said it, the orange snow fence that's there, we're gonna put fencing that matches up to the other stuff on that side, so it'll keep the balls on both sides
Nice.
from
Right.
keeping out, so it'll make it easier.
Courts look awesome, so great job.
Appreciate it. It's 2 years in the works. Huh?
Tired after that.
Well, I wasn't involved with that long, so, but a lot of process, so. Other than that, you guys can hang if you want to, if not, we're going on to our next thing, unless you have anything else to add.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to make it to my daughter's play, so I'm gonna step out. If you guys, any of you guys have any questions, you know how to reach me.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're moving on to the next item on the business, so entirely, if you need to go, it's not a
They know
problem.
how to reach you, right?
Do you guys want our app
Make
for
sure
the
that-
schedule, I mean, for the
You
spring?
can go to the office.
Goes to the office.
We don't take that.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Thank you
I'll
guys.
No
be
problem.
online soon.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Can't wait.
Thanks,
Yeah,
everybody.
happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas.
Thanks.
Can I ask a question before we go on? Is the council on aging, are they using that space?
Fieldhouse?
Yeah,
Yes, weekly.
Twice a week,
and it's
Twice a
good?
week.
You have it, is it filling up or,
slowly.
okay, good.
Hey, it's perfect. It's time of the year. Now you'll find out more people. I'm curious to see what happens
First of
after the
the year.
holiday.
Me too.
I think you're gonna see a real big January, and let's see how the New Year's
As long
resolutions
as the
kind
weather holds out,
Yeah.
but, yeah. It's growing, it's growing,
So I'm
so,
glad you're enjoying it and things are working, so.
it's awesome, we love it,
Good.
For all those that are watching and listening, please join the Council on Aging in the yoga class.
yes. Or our stretching class.
Shameless.
Oh, sure. Oh, of course, if I'm gonna be on this thing, I'm gonna make sure I use it as much as I can. So, considering that we've had feedback from the organizations, and there was, correct me if I'm wrong, there was no pushback on the price change to 10 and 25. Does someone wanna make a motion to change the fees as of September or the fall season of 2022 for in-town and nonprofit from $6 an hour to $10 an hour, and for profit organizations from $15 an hour to $25 an hour?
Second as noted.
Wait a minute, who's making the motion and who's?
I'm gonna make the motion, I'll make your life easy. I usually ask for someone to do it, but everybody keeps seconding it, so I'm like, it's already done then.
Any discussion?
Any discussion? Lucian, you've been quiet.
Man, a few words, I guess.
When he gets talking, then we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, I think that, I don't think it's a good amount. I don't think it's like, it's gonna shock anybody or anything like that.
I was concerned when I went from 6 to 10, and they're gonna go, it's almost double. I'm like, well, yeah, but anything over what you had was almost double.
Yeah.
I mean, we easily could have gone a lot higher.
They're just gonna pass it through, just like.
Yes,
Right.
as he said, as Jason said, the money's gonna get passed through us. That's their call, how they wanna handle it. So,
But I also think that these groups all travel to other places, and they
know.
not only do they compare the quality of the facility with other places, but they also know the prices of other places too. So they know that they've had a bargain for a couple of years, and that's why.
I think they still do, because I got a feeling they're all gonna come back, and,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, technically, we're giving them an extra season out of the current pricing more than we did, but that's not their issue, that's ours, so.
I think the bathrooms alone is a big deal. So many fields do you go, I used to take my daughter to soccer and there was a porta potty.
Porta potties, yeah.
Well, when we get that, because, well, that's the other thing
Do you wanna
too.
vote on it tonight, or do you wanna wait?
Oh, no, I wanna vote on it tonight, because I wanna set up a meeting with the select board to get it on their
Yeah.
thing, so we can get it done.
Okay.
So, if there is no more further discussion, all is in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We will bring it to the select board. I'll reach out to Tracy and see if, or whoever, to see if we can get it on the agenda.
Yeah, it probably won't be until
I wasn't planning on doing it until January.
All right,
I'm not doing it this late in the year.
yeah, well, we have a meeting tomorrow night, that agenda's already posted, and then we have one tentatively scheduled for the 28th, but sounds like there's gonna be like no business, so we
Yeah.
won't hold it, so it'll be
We're
the.
gonna make you hold it just for that one.
And it's the 28th, it's between Christmas and New Year's, and nobody's
Yeah.
around. Yeah.
Which probably isn't a bad
I'll be
thing.
in Aruba.
Oh, nice.
It was in Aruba right before
No,
COVID,
I'm going down.
at the same time.
So, all right.
I wish.
The other two pieces we really wanted to go over tonight were the field house and basketball court policies, and the proposal name change of the field areas from Mantor to either Central Street or something else.
Well, I think we can do the basketball pretty quickly. We just need to set a fee, it's gonna be on the same calendar, hourly rate, right?
Yep, I think $50 an hour is probably a nice, clean number,
That's for the whole court.
the whole court,
For.
an hour.
No, is that
who?
is that for retail group, or is that everybody?
The-
You can't
Oh,
charge.
no, you're right.
We have to break that
Obviously,
down.
it would be free for Newbury residents, I don't
What
know.
if Triton Youth Basketball comes in?
Oh, they're gonna, and I guarantee you, considering they helped pay for this thing, I'm
Yeah.
certainly not gonna,
The,
I'm not saying I'm gonna give them nothing, but I don't want the locals, cause I think,
Is that how much?
the discussion that we had last meeting was, we talked about the courts being 25 and 50. That was where we had, that was the opening discussion. I don't know if we were going up or we were going down.
no, I think we were that was a good ballpark number.
Okay, that's what we had talked, and for the courts, and then the fields, we did talk 10 and 25, and so, but that was the discussion that we were in the process.
I guess the question is, who would rent a half a court? I mean, if
I don't
you're,
think we should do that. I think if they wanna rent a whole court and use it as 2 half courts,
that's fine,
Yeah,
I think.
I brought up the topic of saying, well, someone goes, I just wanna use one, I want one hoop, and I said, well, it kinda defeats the purpose of anything else. I think you're right, I think everybody's right. You're all right in this situation, I think it should be, you want the court, you get the whole court.
Right.
Yeah.
The problem is when you try to rent the half a court, if you have 2 different rentals on each side, there's no organization in the middle to keep things safe. When someone rents the entire court and they set up a practice or a clinic for the entire court, they keep in mind the crossover between the 2 courts, and the safety is much greater.
I
So-
stand with the expert, that certainly makes it easier, you got the experience on that thing, so.
Lucian, didn't you look up, other policies around
Other
basketball, other fee
programs.
schedules or something with other courts?
Yeah, I got new report. I think it was just new report.
Did you
I
get
called, I emailed,
Yeah,
I
did you
searched
get,
through the
did you get
websites.
any insight from how the other people are doing it?
New report does the scattered plan through like the different kinds of people. I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but
That's
I'll
okay.
look that up right now.
But so they have a tiered price.
I think everyone has, like, when I started checking in different policies, different plans, permit policies, stuff like that, everyone has that tiered setup. Some are 5 tiers,
Yeah,
but ours is the basic 3. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it's fair to, I mean, $25 for a court if you're a Triton, or, you know, like it is that mixed group, a Triton type group, I don't know if that's a hardship or not. 25 divided by 10, if you have 10 people playing or a team, I don't know. Do you think that's,
I mean, if you had the rec league go through, if you had not a rec league, if you had a men's league or women's league or co-ed or whatever you wanted to have, yeah, I wanna borrow the court for an hour.
I think, so here's the, so I mean, I guess my question to you is, are you saying that we're charging more than we're charging like a field use? And is that fair? And I think because
yeah,
there's not as many,
yeah,
there's only 1 court,
yeah,
there is kind of a premium.
yeah. And it's in
Is
the
that
quality of the
correct
court.
to say?
I mean, we went and we spent good money as far as the town, putting a really nice court up there. I think there should be a premium value, you know, in.
So was that your initial question though, was the fact that,
No, the sort of the oddity of my question was that I think that $50 is a nice, if there was Joe's, you know, basketball camp or whatever that has kids from all over the area come and play, and I'm not saying the 3 Triton area, but all over, I think $50 is a good rate for that court. My sort of question is, what do we, you know, like if it's Triton Youth Basketball, where do we set that at? I mean, how do other people feel comfortable? I would say at least half of what that original cost would be.
I think 25 is the highest I would go for the youth leagues.
And I think that the other thing you have to keep in mind too is that we're presenting a quality court, but also if you look at it in retrospect to what it costs to rent a gymnasium or an indoor court.
It's,
I mean, to rent to rent Triton Regional High School for whether it's a basketball clinic or a cheerleading clinic or the music festival, you're talking $375 to $425 an hour because custodian, security, and all that stuff. So it's extremely expensive. So I think to put something forward like this, I think we're very reasonable at 50 and 25. I think that's it, and we might find over the next couple of years that we need to increase that.
yeah, I
You
don't
know,
think we should put a time limit on it.
No, it just because I think you have to. First of
well,
all,
I thought 2 years was a pretty safe thing, just to give us,
No, I know, but for this one around,
Yeah.
we might wanna move a
Yeah,
little quicker because we're starting
pretty.
I would say a year, then we can't
Right.
raise the price for the first year.
Right, I think, and the reason being is because, first of all, it's our first experience with a basketball court. Second of all, we don't really know the level of usage. And third of all, we're not sure about damaged tiles and things like that, what it costs to replace. So the fact that the security is not where we would really like it, to have a big fence and keep people out that are dragging in hockey nets. But they could be, you know, we don't know, those tiles might be damaged after the first year, and we might have to replace 15% of them, or 10, you know. So the first year is definitely gonna be let's wait and see how it works out, you know?
The one that, the sort of the prototype which I saw, which sort of was the impetus of doing this, was the one in Salem. And,
Palmer Park?
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's quite used.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that, and it seemed the last time I looked was in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
So it may be, and I haven't talked to him and find out if they have to replace things or what kind of damage they have. But, I would say that would take probably about 50 times more abuse than what we have.
Yeah, yeah.
So, just because the amount of location and how, you know, that is a tight-knit neighborhood with lots of people
Right.
compared to where I'm.
Let me just ask one other question, maybe, Alicia, you might be able to answer this. Do we have an insurance policy on that court for damage? You know, if somebody
I
can't.
don't know about for damage.
Okay, because
Well, I
my,
don't think we do.
and again, you know, coming from my background in Lynn, you know, somebody could go down there and light a campfire in the middle of that court, and all of a sudden, we've got tiles that are melted all over the place. And I wonder, that's why my question is, do we have a policy, or is there one available that in case there's damage, or, you
I'll
know?
find out.
And
I'd be shocked if there was one,
yeah,
It might come under our rider.
okay,
It might, it's ringing a bell.
okay.
I'll send an email copy.
yeah, because I'm thinking, and I'm just using that as an example, but other abuse, you know, even, you know, playing hockey with their
That was it, you
rollerblades.
said the rollerblades.
If you crack some of those tiles when it's colder out, who knows how they're gonna respond to rollerblades or anything else, so it's really, we're really looking at this for the first time, too.
I think that Salem actually takes and fills that with water, those tiles stay underneath and then they skate on top of it,
Yeah.
real skates, so.
Yeah, so,
I assume that those things are probably pretty substantial as far as.
durability, yeah, yeah.
All right, so, and then policy for the basketball court, we'll just kind of,
We were gonna take the
Dovetails.
field and just kind of double up on that and just kind of say, here, we got this.
and then signage.
Yeah, signage we talked about, I think, well, I sent one out to, I don't know if everyone got it, but I
Yeah.
sent it out, and then I think we had a discussion at the very end about what we should add and what we should take off, you know, so, I tried to keep it very simple, I think there was 5 items total, and I don't have my phone's dying on me, so I don't have a copy of it, but, I tried to limit it to just, 5, basic general policies that would kind of cover everything, as far as respecting equipment, no alcohol, no smoking, no, all of those things, but, and respecting other people on it,
You had listed, because I have the email,
yeah.
Sorry, I was taking a second.
Oh, right here.
So my phone is,
Yeah, I have no dogs allowed on the court, no hockey and rollerblading on the court, no hanging on the rims or nets, no alcohol in the basketball court area, be respectful and considerate of others. Team, leagues, organizations, and private groups, if you wish to use this basketball court for creating a league, holding a camp or clinic, schedule practices, or holding a special event, you must contact the Newbury Recreation Committee. Please respect the equipment, stay safe, and enjoy this basketball court, Newbury Recreation Committee. I didn't have a problem with it.
just,
It was-
my thing is if you really want people to follow signs, keep them simple.
It says no alcohol, do you wanna add smoking, no pets,
The pets are already on there.
Yeah, the dog,
oh, no dogs,
um,
but you can bring your horse?
I would change, I think I probably would say change the dogs to pets.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if someone's out walking a cat or
Or their
a lizard.
donkey or something.
Yeah, a donkey, yeah.
You never know.
In this area, you never know, you could have a horse walking through, so.
Yeah.
Where do we need to go to get pricing for the sign? Is that something through DPW as well, or,
Do you want no alcohol and or smoking?
yes?
What tobacco?
Yeah. Think
Or
about that.
tobacco?
No alcohol, tobacco products.
No alcohol. More smoke.
He's like, yeah,
What's that?
don't do it.
Sorry, just
Don't give him a hard time now. That's too professional.
trying to keep.
I can
rules
send
tight.
this out, want more than one sign?
I would think one on each end would be good. Yeah, I'm
I
guessing
think
it's
we
more
should
of
post it in like each
corner.
fence post, all four sides.
Well, we don't
Well,
really,
it's-
it's almost we don't need a post, we just attach it to the fence.
No,
Yeah,
that's
there's-
what I mean, but on all fours.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I thought there was gonna be
Well,
two-
technically, right now, we only have,
two entrances.
we only really have we can have the two entrances.
You only have.
The other side, so that we're right until the other stuff's done, yes, all we're gonna have is the two entrances.
Right.
Yeah, when it's done, it's gonna be two entrances.
But Celine's saying, hey, put one here, put one there, put one there, here, on each of the sides so we can see it. But really, the two entrances, that's really the main thing we need.
Yeah.
I can't put it up on the other side since we get the fence done.
If we can get the signs.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll work out the policy and then the field house we can do next week. Because I think we've tried, that with today's conversation, we kind of changed course with the field house. By now, we're gonna let them do their own fundraising.
Which I am ecstatic over. I
No,
was
that's
so
fine.
happy someone else. The whole idea was we wanted it, I mean, people built it, we inherited it, it was completed, and we want people to use it. Unfortunately, when it finally became eligible, we got this sticker of occupancy end of October, so we didn't even really have a full season. We still had to work through it, and then COVID hit.
The question
And then
is,
complaint.
do we, I think we discussed it before, should there or should there not be a fee involved with that kitchen?
Yes, because it needs to be cleaned.
Okay.
That, we need to at least cover that cost,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Is that-
If we use.
Isn't it cleaned by DPW?
It'll need to
That's
be
what
cleaned
they
more
said,
often.
that's what Tracy had said. The town administrator had said that the cleaning would not be done by an outside company, more it would be done by DPW. I have the
Will
email.
it need to be
And
cleaned more
I
often?
think, that's the concern. I think
Yeah.
once a week or,
The other company was coming in 2 or 3 times a week, and that's what we were basing our numbers off of. I have not
but they would
seen,
just clean the bathrooms, right?
that was cleaning the bathrooms, yes, because we didn't have the kitchen going yet. If we were gonna add that to the equation, it's a question. But again, if it's only gonna be a fridge and a microwave,
Mike?
I mean, we could put a
But I mean,
cleaning,
they're
we
gonna
could put a
clean the
cleaning
floor,
fee into
people are
the,
gonna track in
Right.
stuff,
This is-
you do want it clean.
Yeah.
Right, but I think the other thing is, even with a refrigerator, I think these guys coming with big coolers can do the job. The less you're gonna put in there, the less you gotta worry about damage or usage.
then why don't we
or-
wait the first year and see?
And the other thing, the only thing that I would really require, which I've required before when I was at Triton, was that they have to remove all their trash. When they leave, they have
Oh,
to
yeah.
take their trash with them.
Yeah, they
Because
can't
there
just
is
put
a,
it in the dumpster.
no, there's a no, because you can't, because they'll take advantage of it, and when you run a concession stand for a high school football game, or a big game, or a big event, there's a tremendous amount of trash. So as long as one of the primary rules for cleanliness and for sanitization is, they take their trash with them. That place has to be clean and empty
That's
when
what
they
it is on the
leave.
beach, pack it in,
Carry
pack it
in.
out.
Yep,
So
yep,
should we be
carry,
buying
carry.
garbage barrels for them to store in the,
We could buy the barrels, but they're gonna have to understand that, and that would be part of the policy is, if you rent out the facility, you are
You bring
taking.
your bags.
You bring the bags, we'll have a barrel for you, you can use the bags, you just
oh
take the
yeah, you
bags
gotta
out.
have someplace for these kids to throw their water bottles.
Yeah.
Otherwise
Yeah.
they're just.
It's
Too bad we couldn't that be able to recycle, but we had something there, we could just say, yeah, just dump your recycle stuff in here, we could get that done.
No,
But-
let them to handle it. Let
Yeah,
them
I know.
handle everything.
Yeah.
I said it would be nice if we could, but it's another thing to add to the
Because
equation.
there's gonna be, there'll be a ton of pizza boxes, there's gonna be all kinds of stuff that, and if they're not told ahead of time they have to take it with them, they're
They'll
gonna
leave
walk in there with money, they'll leave it, because that's.
The question then is, do we do a cleaning fee?
Yeah.
If you're not, it's
Well,
almost like leave something on, you guys would be a different story because you're not doing food and stuff, but if someone came in and was gonna use it for an extended period of time and had host meetings and have food and doing all that,
I think if it is a, I don't say moneymaker, because that's not the, I think that if
Or
there
part.
is an exchange of cash in that unit, there should be some kind of fee that we should add to it. Whatever it is, whether the minimal or not.
Well,
Why don't we ask them what they're thinking of, if it's just a Saturday and a Sunday usage,
that's it.
then, you
They
know,
weren't
then
looking
you
for
just
weekend
charge them.
activities.
Yeah, it's for their games, they're not looking for practice.
Yeah, so
and stuff.
$75, I don't know, how much is a cleaning fee?
Well, it was
For a day.
$75, but now the question is, if the DPW does it, I don't know if we're seeing a bill for that. If,
Well, not only that, now if there's gonna be food, they're gonna have to have the board of health inspect it, and there might be a fee with that too.
That's why it's best to have an
Every
empty
time.
room with just a sink. When the Board of Health walks in, if you have a clean, empty room and there's just a sink in the middle and a floor drain, they're gonna walk out there and say, it's great. if they walk in and they start to see a refrigerator, and they say, okay, who's gonna clean the refrigerator? If
And
there's-
who's gonna make
Is
sure
the
the
temperature
temperature,
correct?
Exactly, the temps
controlled?
are controlled, you're
Yeah.
gonna run into all those other things, and the best thing to do is let them come in with these big coolers, they
Yeah.
can take care of all, you know, they'll ice everything down the night before, they'll get everything ready, especially if it's an efficient committee that knows how to eventually really get into a good concession stand, they'll take care of it, you know.
Do you let them have the area the night before, so they can bring their coolers and their ice and put everything in there on Friday night for their Saturday game?
You can offer it, but if they're gonna come, you know, I know when.
It's open the doors, bang, and everything's in.
They're gonna bring up a couple of pickup trucks, everything will come off the truck, everything's ready to go, and they'll be there an hour, 2 hours early, and that's all they need. If they're grilling outside and they're doing hot dogs, if they're not, they'll do a hot dog, they'll just have a big, you know, maybe a hot plate with a big tub of boiling water, and they'll sell boiled hot dog or steamed hot dogs and sell them right out, you know, that way, but, so there's plenty of ways to make it, and they really don't need a lot in there, the less that's in there, the less we're
The
worried
other thing I
about.
was just thinking about with that, I know I put that grill in there, but, first of all, it might be rusted. What are you gonna do with the hot coals?
Again, you
Yeah.
gotta, well, what.
There's a whole thing with the
Take it
gas
out.
grill thing, cause I.
This is a
we ran in-
charcoal grill.
Yeah, but I'm saying even with grills, because I remember a business that I would go to, they had a deal where they'd have like a contractor lunch. And it ran into a problem with the local health department where they wanted to make sure that the burgers were cooked to whatever it was, 160 degrees.
165,
Yeah.
yeah, they can
Yeah.
check it.
So that may, you know, like you say, maybe, you know, maybe we should just let
Get rid of
them,
the grill.
let them
Stick with
do
the
it.
candy bars and the chips and the.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
and
pizzas, I
the
like
hot
that
dogs, the
idea, the
pizzas, you know, well, that's what we used to do, we used to get them delivered 12 at a time, and, you know, you'd call an hour, half hour, you'd get down to 3 pizzas, you'd call again, 20 minutes later, the guy would show up with another 10 pizzas, and, you know, you get hot pizza, you got hot dogs, and, you know, your hot dogs, you take them out of boiling water, put them in a bun and give them away. The other thing, and like Mr. Betancourt said that, and I know in Peabody, when I was in Peabody, a lot of the concession stands were run by, you know, a parent, but also some kids were working.
Right.
So you gotta be worrying about kids in there, you know, some kid getting burnt, like you said, the coals. Now it's, you know, the coals have been hot for 3 hours, and all of a sudden you're packing up and you're leaving, and you don't wanna pour water over those coals, cause then you do ruin the grill. You know, you rust it up, it gets all ruined, so.
So that should.
Let's
So we
do,
need rules for.
we need rules regarding it, but let's, at least for the first year,
Keep it simple, yeah.
keep it very simple.
Yeah.
No grills, you wanna do the hot dogs and stuff like that boiled, but no grills, no other thing in the kitchen other than the sink.
Coolers.
And all traffic has to come to the 2 windows, not inside and into the,
Yes.
because that way,
On the inside.
that,
Yeah, the inside is only for the groups that's kinda running it, we don't need to have 20, 30 people in there, cause then you are gonna clean the whole place.
Right.
And then we have to talk about cleaning fee.
Yeah, and then can't have so many people in that building.
I mean, if you have a yoga
You can walk
event
up to the
going, or
window.
whatever
Yeah.
reason,
What do you-
and then you have,
Right.
So if we had, so you're talking a cleaning fee, you have a pause, that you can always put, you can leave that on and save for the next week, whatever's going through. And at the end of the season, you can always wrap it up if we need to, if we had to deal with it. But for a fee for the use of the facility, if they wanted to, so if they're gonna use it Saturday and Sunday, from 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning until 4 in the afternoon.
Wait,
What-
so, wait,
Like, what's a reasonable fee?
can I just backtrack a little bit?
Yeah.
With the fee increase on the fields, does that include using the bathrooms?
If it does, it's,
Or are they still gonna get a porta potty and use the bathroom?
oh no, it's, if the porta potties are now on their own, if they wanna do it, that's their call. They bring a porta potty
So
down.
that fee increase that we just voted on includes using the bathrooms?
Yes,
Does that, we have a handicap bathroom downstairs,
Yes.
don't
there's one female there.
we? All right.
There's three stalls on each side. One each is handicapped.
All right.
spend a lot of time cleaning those things.
So we have the fee increase for the field. We have the numbers for the basketball court, the 25 and the 50. I'm sorry to say, we voted on the first one, we still haven't voted on the 25, 50 for the basketball court.
No.
And we have to look and we have to
Are you gonna
figure out,
have this- Excuse me, the same tiered approach to the basketball court?
that's
that
why
you have
we're doing,
with- I think it should be,
So 25 for
They
like
should
the
mirror.
local.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, so you have, so if you're a Newbury resident, like let's say.
I'm not doing,
I
we're not
have
doing, we're not doing the
last
10,
time
and we're
goes
doing it for the
past
field
the
because of the,
spring.
yeah.
And then you have the just groups, and then you have the, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna use the same language based on both.
Yeah,
If a bunch of Newbury residents, Byfield residents wanted to use the court for a league, are we then saying, if everybody is a Newbury Byfield resident, and they wanted to use the court for an hour for a league every Thursday, technically, they could do it, it wouldn't cost them a dime.
Yep, that's fine. They pay tax dollars for it. And then if it gets to the point where that Newbury Rec League starts to have games with Salisbury Rec League or something else, then it's a whole different story. But if it's all,
That bumps
yeah,
them into the $25.
yeah, I think that if you're a bunch of guys from Newbury and you decide that you wanna play every Saturday night, and
But-
you're all from Newbury,
But
have
if,
at it, you paid winner.
if there's a league and there's, how do you police it? How do you police that everybody that's on that court that night is from Newbury? You know, it's like, what,
Well, if someone has I think also it's the permit thing, you know, they have to sign a form and say it's all Newbury.
We're not charging you, but we're certainly gonna hold you,
Yeah,
we're gonna, you have
yeah,
to
you have to pull a
permit.
permit.
I think the other way you could do it is it could be a fee for leagues. If a bunch of guys on a Friday night wanna go down and shoot baskets and have a game, and they do it every Friday night, that's not considered a league. But if somebody from Newbury says, you know what, let's get 5 teams down there playing, and maybe they might be from Newbury, they might be from Raleigh, they might be from all over, playing on these different teams. Should there just be a fee for a league fee? And then it's open to anybody else. If somebody, like I said, if guys wanna just show up and plan to come on a regular basis, that's different, but if they're gonna run a league, I don't
Do
know
they
the
fall in the
league. 25?
Do they fall in the 50?
Right, I don't know a league that's free, I mean, you know,
We
if
could
you
just
play
say,
in a
yeah,
league, you gotta
if you-
pay.
right.
If you're a Newbury resident, you wanna reserve it for an hour, it's $5 or something
Yeah.
like that, you know what I mean?
Who's
Like
gonna-
if you wanted to
who's gonna manage
reserve,
that? The minute you start charging them, then they've gotta do the application,
yeah,
the query.
No, I say you just let them show up.
You don't need the
Yeah,
court
no.
because because no one's underage,
That's why,
unless you have people that are under
Yeah,
18 years of age.
if they're running a league, there has to be someone that's gonna keep the score books, there's gonna have to be somebody that does the referees, there's gonna have to be somebody that runs the clock. A league will charge for those guys to play in a league. So you set a fee for a league, whether it's a teenager, group of young adolescents, whether it's a group of men, whether it's a group of women, whether it's somebody that wants to put a girls' league together. If it's a league where they have a schedule and they have a tournament and they have a playoff and they have referees and they have a timekeeper and they have all
It's
that,
coordinated.
it's coordinated, then they should pay a league fee, you know?
if they're Newbury people though, it's just kinda like, you know, I don't think there's any charge for, I may be
But there,
wrong.
honestly, I don't think there'll ever be a league in Newbury alone,
No.
Right, of all
where
the-
they'll all Newbury, so.
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
And if we do, then they come to the rec committee and they ask for.
Yeah, because you know the whole thing with the baseball field, I don't think the town's getting money for that, for Pearson's
No,
Field.
no, but
so-
they charge teams to play there, that's all handled by Byfield Newbury Little League.
Okay.
Because the kids get charged to play, and there's a fee to that.
Right, but Newbury Little League, you have to be from Newbury to be in Newbury Little League.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they still pay for it though,
So,
so it's like
right.
Triton Youth Soccer, Triton Youth Lacrosse,
Right.
they're both paying.
It's lacrosse, it's Georgetown, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying though, they're still paying for fees.
Yeah.
So, going back to this, field house, I guess it should be a flat fee,
You mean for the kitchen?
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
$100, or is that too much?
For a day?
I don't think they're gonna make any money with $100 for a day. Do you?
I don't know.
$100 for a day?
If you're a good
I was
concession
thinking, I mean, I was probably
person,
thinking,
it's-
huh?
If you're a good concession, I'm not saying, I'm not advocating 100, but if you're good at it.
Yeah, but if you got $100, it costs you $100 for the day to use it, and you're there from 8 to 7, 9 to 7, 10 hours?
I have no idea, what are they selling? Candy bars for?
It's a question what's the hot, what, maybe they sell,
No,
you
a dollar.
get a case of Gatorade, and then you sell it for twice the price. and-
$2 a Gatorade,
$2 for a bottle of water, just regular
yeah.
water, you know? Probably $2.50 for a slice of pizza. You know, so, and again,
I have no idea.
Again, it's like, I think it's the newness of it, so you set a reasonable rate, even if you say, okay, it's $10 an hour. And we look at it, now all of a sudden, you know, you say, geez, these guys are, you know, they're setting up a really nice concession stand and they're making, you know, $300 a night in a concession stand or $300 for 3 or 4 games during the day, you know, then you can reassess it and say, okay, but I think, you know, if you gotta give it away for the first year to get them to become interested in it and to really start to build
Or
it.
even just $50 for the day, I mean, something.
No,
Because as you said, we still have to figure, we have to get it clean and stuff, so.
I was
Right,
thinking
and then you see
75.
how it's used, if it's
Right.
Yep.
abused, then you
Split the
get a
difference.
good.
Exactly. And do we wanna do it for a day? Do we wanna charge by the day or do you wanna charge by the hour? Cause the other thing is,
I think the hour,
you think so?
I do.
Okay,
So
so,
that's matching.
because my thing is there's separate games,
Like 8 to 10, and
Right.
a certain group of parents wants to come in and do it.
Yeah.
right, so
They
that's
pay
my,
for the full day.
right, that's my question, is it set up where you're gonna have a game in the morning, then maybe a game in the afternoon, and it's a different group coming in?
Well, maybe we should
Set of,
ask
set
them
of
what their
parents.
plan is.
Well, that's what I said, we should, you know, to really find out how they.
We can bring this one back to them if we need to regarding to it, and it'd been nice if we had thought of it then, but my
Right.
apologies, we'll let them go,
No,
because we could have made things.
Well, they
easier.
only just found out that they were gonna be able to
Right.
use it,
And
so
even
they're
though-
probably talking about how they're
Right.
gonna do it.
even though,
Let's see if we get it back for the next meeting and just say, okay, now we're looking at this, or the meeting in February, one or the other.
right, even the lacrosse guy said that just give us power and a sink and everything's fine, we can run a great concession stand with it, because they can. And so I think that's the, you know, and it depends, they might have a, you know, the soccer might be a younger group in the morning and those parents wanna come in and run a concession stand or be part of that, or the concession
Maybe
stand.
coffee and donuts instead.
It could be coffee and donuts and it could be hot dogs and pizza for an evening
And
game.
then if they start to collaborate, now it's different.
Exactly.
We just could, I'll reach out and thank them again for coming tonight and let's sit and talk about the concession stand. I said, we'd like to get an idea, of what's your thought on hours? Are you talking about using it from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, whatever? And we'd like to see if you, a couple of you guys could come back and talk about it either in January or probably in February. I said, get together with your leagues, figure out what you got and see if there's an interest, because we want to talk about finalizing structures and stuff.
Right, and you heard Mr. Betancourt say that concession stand can be a great fundraiser.
Yeah.
Because they can make, if they do
I mean,
it well.
it was like
good money.
It was like the tournaments they used to have. And then the details and stuff, when they came up, they said, we were making all this money, then all of a sudden the detail came out, and it ate up all the profits they had. I mean, I want them to make the money, because that should help.
Right.
We just gotta make sure we're covering our expenses and stuff
Well,
like
the
that.
Triton boosters, they used to, I mean, I can remember with football games,
Oh.
they would sell hamburgers
Oh, yeah,
back there and
hamburgers, pizza,
they were,
cold
yeah,
drinks, water,
Yeah.
candy.
you know, a soda, they'd get $3 for a can of soda. $2.50 for a hot, $3 for a hot dog, $4 for a slice of pizza, I mean, it's, you know, and so, yeah.
Yeah, I can
They're
remember
making
feeling fives, giving my kids $5, here,
Yeah.
go get a
And how
slice
many,
of pizza.
but how many people just say, just keep it, cause it's a fundraiser?
Well,
Yeah.
that's the other thing too, you know, so, and if they do it right, and they collaborate, and at each time they have an event or a game, or even a clinic, or things like that, they can do very well, if they get a group of people that will work diligently.
But they will have to register online.
Yeah,
And is it better if they go in that collaboration direction, is it better by the hour or by the day?
See, I would look at it by the hour,
Yeah, you thought it'd be
because
better that
you
way.
you might have Rush come in the morning, and then you might have lacrosse come in the afternoon or evening,
Yeah.
so it's like, you know, I would just let each one of them do it by the hour, but the concession, if it's a collaboration, then the concession stand group will be the ones that say, you know, we're gonna set up, and if they want it for a day, and we're only charging $15 an hour or $10 an hour for it, they'll know ahead of time, we're gonna be there for 8 hours, we got a morning group and an afternoon group, so.
I think my only concern with that is that if you only have somebody come in and do concessions one morning,
Yep.
then you charge them $20, but you still have that $75 cleaning fee. I guess that's,
Do we have a cleaning fee yet? Have
we don't
decided
know
on
that, and that's the
Okay.
question. I said, according to the town administrator, that the DPW is gonna will clean this. We'd have to set them up, let them know what it is. I have not seen, I don't know if they're adding that to our bills for
DPW
the,
cleans the council on aging too.
huh?
The DPW cleans the council on aging too, and I do not get billed for that. It's a
Okay.
town department, so I would think they wouldn't charge you for it.
Well, I mean, granted, I understand the lawn's a whole different ballgame because they have to do the chemicals and
Yeah,
it's a lot more labor intensive and stuff. I just wanna make sure we're appropriately doing it.
I mean, I haven't seen the space, but if you just have an open space in the sink, I mean, what's the clean, if they go in with a power wash it once a week and hit the whole thing with a power wash?
It's not, It's not much space to clean.
No,
It's just the bathrooms and then wiping it down and mopping the floor.
right,
Yeah, yeah.
right.
And it's not like there's anything in there to be,
Yeah.
have to move all this furniture out, it's
No,
not like
Right.
labor
But
intensive.
I mean,
if the concession stand, if the concession stand's not there, they're still gonna use the bathrooms and everything else, so that's where the cleaning cost comes from.
Yeah.
The concession stand is not gonna increase the cleaning cost, it's just, if all it is a room with a sink in it.
You're wiping down the counter and you're wiping off.
Unless they said, okay, we'll do this for this, but if you're gonna do, again, if they're not charging, there's not a question. If they do charge, we need to find out, is the bathroom one fee and is the bathroom in the kitchen
your costs.
another? Because then we find it.
If they rent the fields and they wanna use the field house to use the bathrooms, like they asked if the bathrooms were gonna be open, is there any additional cost to that?
That has
We
not
just
been,
decided no.
That's,
So-
okay. So then you're gonna eat the $75, just say, yes.
that's part of the reason was the increase of the fee.
Increasing the fee, okay.
But again, if we're not, I haven't seen a number for the fee. I haven't seen a number on the, I almost need, we need Tracy to confirm that.
Yeah.
Make sure there's nothing changed on that. If she's 100% saying, we will not see a fee
Well, this
for these,
isn't
then
timely right now because January, we're gonna be coming into budget season. So if you need more in your budget, you need to.
well, this is a question. If you're gonna charge us, that's fine. We need to know it, and we either pass it on, or we need to build it into our budget, saying this is what it's gonna cost, but I just wanna make sure,
Yeah, I
if the
thought
town
that-
is not charging the rec committee to clean the bathrooms anywhere up to 7 times a week, because if people are gonna be using it in the spring and during the seasons,
It should be cleaned.
it should be cleaned based on the current health situation. If we're not gonna be charged that, then I wouldn't pass it on to the
I
people.
still think there's a wear and tear, there should be some kind of either deposit or nominal.
Oh, I think there should be a deposit, because if anybody leaves it too much, and they don't, as you said, if you don't put any, if you don't have a stake in it, you're not gonna take care of it.
Jack, I do think you should have a,
I mean, even if we just did a $50 for the day, or $75 for the day, I like the day over the,
okay.
unless you have, like you said, you have one repair saying, I'm not using it all day, I'm only using it for part of the day. I mean,
Maybe just
technically,
do half days then.
Well, then Celine had a good point. You did this electricity cost and this water
Water.
cost
yeah,
on top of all.
And I think if they're collaborating, you're not gonna have somebody doing it for half a day. The concession people will figure out, you might have different people in there, you know, there'll be a different set of parents in there working it, but it'll be collaborated where they'll start it, and then at the end of the day, they'll finish it. So, I think, I think a fee for we should figure out what it's gonna cost us and pass that along to them. I think that's the best way to do it.
well, the thing is, we don't know how much it's gonna cost us yet, because we haven't done this yet. So we have no idea what the electric's gonna cost us additional, we have no idea what the water's gonna cost us additional, and we don't know the cleaning fee. Those are the 3 things, but, I mean, ballpark it, we get an idea, and we adjust it after the first year when we see what the numbers look like.
So
So
I
we'll
have a
have-
note for that to find
Thank
out.
you.
Decide if we wanna do it by the hour, by the half day, or by the full day.
I will send the email out to the groups and update them to say, hey, thanks for the time, and we have questions regarding the field house and what's the best way to do it, and try to get them back here for either January or most likely February.
And by then,
Is
we may
somebody
be
checking out the
remote, who
signs?
knows?
Somebody gonna-
The signs for the basketball court,
Yeah.
David was gonna do that.
Yeah, you want me to check on pricing, or?
Is that something that does,
I don't
get some, does that have to be done through the DPW, or?
I will go through the town, tell them what you wanted to say,
Okay,
and send it to Julie and see if she can give you a price.
I'll take care of that, because I can talk to you or something
Yeah,
myself, I'll send it.
all right.
Just remind me, I can send you the latest copy, the one I just edited.
Oh, please.
Yep.
All right, we did not address, we have 6 minutes. I know the last meeting we talked about the name changing of the field. And the last discussion topic, please correct me if I'm wrong, was of bringing a list of names to the select board for consideration. Or Mark was talking about a committee subcommittee, whatever, to get into grabbing names and thinking what they wanted to do.
Could we, I don't know how to approach this, could we,
Smells candy.
I'm sorry,
No, I'm hungry as ever, I can't wait to eat.
sorry.
Should you table it until you have a full committee?
We have a full committee, I mean, we're short of Mark, but that's it, but I mean, I have no problems of waiting, so, let's push this into next month, then, I am gonna ask, just because it is a time-sensitive thing because of the tempo organization, does anybody have a problem in adding this item to the agenda about allowing them to use the parking lot
When is their event?
in March? But they need to get confirmation, because if they don't have it in time, they may not be able to host the event. Triton is trying to host the event, and if they don't have the extra parking, they may not have it.
The town paves, they plow that, they at least plow 3/4 of that lot, so it'll be open, because it does snow in March.
And they're gonna have a volunteer handle manage the parking over there.
Yeah, they've done it before.
Yeah,
I just,
know.
where it wasn't on the agenda, I just don't want someone
Well,
going back and
sometimes-
biting my head off again.
Well, I know, when's your next meeting?
That will be the next question, because I'm not gonna be available January 3rd, which is the first Monday of the month, so that means either the 10th or the 17th.
I would, honestly, to be safe, because it wasn't posted on the agenda, I just
don't know if it's gonna be too late for them, I did ask, I said
I
we
think-
probably meet on the 10th or 17th, I said, is that too late? And they're like, we'll have to make it work, but it could hurt our chances to host the event.
I'm sure it's fine, because we've done it before, but just so you have to go through this,
Well, I prepped them, I let them know that ahead of time, so.
that's all.
Alright, so the last question is, does anybody have any questions, or any preferences on the 10th or the 17th?
So the 17th is a holiday.
Yeah, and I won't be here on the 10th. I'll be in Texas from
What are you, traveling here, there, and everywhere? What are you, Carmen San Diego?
No, I'm going to a coaches convention in San Antonio. So,
Alright, and we can't do the 17th because it is a holiday and the building's closed. Then the question is, how about the 18th? I hate going on Tuesdays, are you guys meeting then, do you know?
We
or-
meet the second and fourth Tuesday of the month.
That would be the 11th and the 25th, so we're opposite you
What
that way.
about the 4th or the 5th, so we don't get too far into the month?
Yeah, I think that's better. When are you back from Aruba?
the 2nd. Then I'm leaving on the 6th.
Yeah,
How about the 4th?
let me see if there's anything on the calendar.
I don't need one, so we can do it. I don't have access to the calendar right now, so, or I should say. Are you looking at the town?
I'm looking at the town calendar.
Okay. So if you weren't, I would just do it.
I'll bring snacks over next time.
Okay, so January 4th, there's a Board of Assessors meeting here from 3 to 4.
Which one?
Conservation Commission meets at 7, and the FinCom meets here at 7 too.
Alright, so the 4th is out. How about the 5th?
The Planning Board meets at 7.
There goes that idea, unless we meet beforehand.
The 6th.
Huh?
The 6th is opening the 3rd and the 6th.
He's gone on the 6th.
What's the 3rd look like?
It's open.
That's the one you can't make.
I can change things around, just.
Yeah, that's gonna be right into the new year, and all they need.
Or the 10th.
10th doesn't work.
You could meet Wednesday at 6 and just have a shortened agenda.
Well,
I'd like
considering
to-
the,
Or even
considering
Tuesday.
that right now, the agenda is gonna look like, briefly hit on the field house security. Mark's gonna talk about the canoe and kayak if he's done anything, if not, that'll be a quick done. The fee schedule's already been taken care of, so I'm gonna take that off the list. It's really gonna be
Policy.
the policies.
Which we're kind of already rounding out.
So if we wanna do Wednesday 6 to 7, we could do that. Is that okay for everybody?
What date is the Wednesday? My phone's dead.
The 6th,
Wednesday's the 5th.
the day before you leave.
Yep.
When you're many excursions.
3 years in the restaurant, I finally got some time to take off.
Yeah, whatever.
So if we come to a conclusion here?
It's gonna be either Wednesday from 6 to 7,
Okay.
or it's gonna be Monday, normal time, but it's gonna be right out of the gate.
So 5 or 10? it's gonna be those days.
No, the third, the third
Or,
or the fifth.
or you could meet not here, you could meet like, in the library, or you could meet in the
Do they
police
have
station.
cameras over there?
No, you have to get one of the cameras.
There's a camera at the library. They keep
Oh.
one there.
I love you people. Oh, I'm gonna ask one more question. Have you heard anything new about anything with the health situation, the COVID situation of us going back to remote?
No, as of
Okay.
right now.
Just wanted to get an idea because everybody's starting to tighten down, because if they start requiring masks in this building, you'll better have a,
Yeah, no.
you better have a Zoom option or I
Our
won't be
numbers-
attending.
Yeah, no, our numbers in the town of Newbury,
Mhm.
I'll get an update tomorrow night,
Yeah, I
but
won't
they're
too.
not climbing.
Okay,
Cause
Okay, so-
Catholic Church is when the Sunday said next
Yeah,
week,
I know.
everyone wears
I
masks.
was there, so,
Oh, did they say that?
yeah.
I spent Thanksgiving in New York, and you have to carry your vaccination card and an ID with you. We actually had them on a lanyard, we wore them around our neck, so everywhere. You could not go into any building. We went into the 9/11 museum, you had to have it, any restaurant, you had to have it.
Yeah,
Any place we went, and we wanted to see the place Chicago, you have to wear it. So we just put a lanyard, right in a lanyard with our ID on one side and the vaccination card on the other side. Just
Gary,
walked
my
around and
husband
showed
went
it
to
to
the
them.
Celtics tonight, you have to have vaccination stats,
Yeah.
you have to be masked.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Same thing.
So do we decide on Monday or Wednesday, or is that still up for,
No, we gotta make a decision right now.
I know, where are we here?
I'll make the third work, I'd rather not, but if
We'll make a
we
short,
have to.
we'll do a short meeting.
Wednesday.
Wednesday, 6 to 7. So June 5th, January 5th, 6 to 7 here. It's mainly gonna be, we'll hit the normal things, the bills and claims if we've got anything, and then,
Put together a short agenda and
Oh,
give
yeah.
it to Julie and she'll post it.
got her here, I'll get it done. She was very nice to help me the other day,
Yeah.
so I don't have any more
Posting is.
snafus.
Motion.
Can I ask before you wrap up, to get approval for the council nation to use the field house?
That wasn't on the agenda
It
though.
wasn't, so what do I do?
You're gonna, when do you need it, when's this?
Well, I'm using it Mondays and Wednesdays, but you guys need to give me approval for
After the
winter.
28th of November, I think it was the date.
Yeah, that's fine, because that's something you've already.
We've already approved before.
Reasonably be expected.
Do I hear a motion to approve the council on aging using the facility, the field house until April 1st on the dates that they have? Was it Wednesdays and,
It's Mondays and Wednesdays, but you guys have given me Monday through Thursday from like, I think we said 10 to 11:30.
yep. Any questions? Any complaints? Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussions? All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's yours.
Thanks so much.
If I hear anything about this, you're the one I'm gonna come back to. We're gonna have to vote on it again in 3 weeks.
Mike's.
I get real,
He's
after
so
these
shy.
meetings, I get something from somebody, so they're very observant people. I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting at,
Can I ask one thing?
what the?
Are we putting the name change, the possible name change of the field house until the next meeting?
Yes. Because we wanted to go over that when we have a full house. Do I hear a motion to adjourn at 7:32?
I have a motion to adjourn at 7:32.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
Now you sure? There's no discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?